This book is called The Wrong Kind of Knight, and it's by Julia Donaldson. Nazim was a knight. But he didn't like to ride, and he didn't like to fight. Oh dear, that's what knights have to do, isn't it? They have to ride on horseback and they have to fight on horseback. Nazim liked to read and write, and he liked to knit. That's unusual. One night there was a knock at the door. "I need you to fight a dragon," cried King Kareem. "But I'm the wrong kind of knight," said Nazim. "I don't like fighting." "Never mind," cried the king. "Hurry up." Oh, he's not listening to him, is he? He's not listening to him at all. "The dragon is in my bed," said the king. Nazim's knees were knocking. He lifted the blanket and saw a tiny dragon. The dragon's knees were knocking too. "I'm freezing," he said. "Oh, poor little dragon." "Fight him," cried the king. "No, I'm the wrong kind of knight," said Nazim, and he began to knit. Nazim was very quick at knitting. He knitted a vest, some socks, and some long knickers. The dragon was delighted. "Thank you," he said, and off he went. Oh, he's going to be all cosy and warm now, isn't he? "I think you were the right kind of knight," said the king. That's a nice ending, isn't it? The next book is A Squash and a Squeeze by Julia Donaldson. A little old lady lived all by herself, with a table and chairs and a jug on the shelf. A wise old man heard her grumble and grouse. "There's not enough room in my house. Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your hen," said the wise old man. "Take in my hen? What a curious plan." Well, the hen laid an egg on the fireside rug and flapped round the room, knocking over the jug. Oh no. The little old lady cried, "What shall I do? It was pokey for one, it's tiny for two. My nose has a tickle, and there's no room to sneeze. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your goat," said the wise old man. "Take in my goat? What a curious plan." Well, the goat chewed the curtains and trod on the egg, then sat down to nibble the table leg. Oh dear. The little old lady cried, "Glory be, it was tiny for two, it's titchy for three. The hen pecks the goat and the goat's got fleas. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your pig," said the wise old man. "Take in my pig? What a curious plan." So she took in her pig, who kept chasing the hen and raiding the larder again and again. The little old lady cried, "Stop, I implore. It was titchy for three, it's teeny for four. Even the pig in the larder agrees. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." Oh dear, look. They're all fed up sitting on the floor, aren't they? "Take in your cow," said the wise old man. "Take in my cow? What a curious plan." Well, The cow took one look and charged straight at the pig, then jumped on the table and tapped out a jig. Oh my goodness, the cow's dancing on the table now. The old lady doesn't look very happy, does she? The little old lady cried, "Heavens alive! It was teeny for 4, it's weeny for 5. I'm tearing my hair out, I'm down on my knees, my house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take them all out," said the wise old man, "but then I'll be back where I first began." So she opened the window and out flew the hen. "That's better, at last I can sneeze again." She shooed out the goat and she shoved out the pig. My house is beginning to feel pretty big. She huffed and she puffed and she pushed out the cow. "Just look at my house, it's enormous now." "Thank you, old man, for the work you have done. It was weeny for 5, it's gigantic for 1. There's no need to grumble and there's no need to grouse. There's plenty of room in my house." And now she's full of frolics and fiddle-de-dees. It isn't a squash and it isn't a squeeze. Yes, she's full of frolics and fiddle-de-dees. It isn't a squash or a squeeze. Oh, everyone's happy now. I'm sure the animals are much happier outside as well, aren't they? The next book is called Victorian Adventure, and it's by Roderick Hunt and Alex Brychta. It's a Biff and Chip one. Biff and Chip had been to London with Gran. They had some pictures which they put into a scrapbook. They wanted to take the book to school. Gran came into Biff's room to look at the children's scrapbook. "We had a great time in London," said Biff. "Thank you, Gran." Gran was pleased. Suddenly, the magic key glowed. It was time for an adventure. The magic took the children into the little house. But did it take Gran? The magic took them back in time to a street on a foggy day. A boy was standing under a gas lamp. He looked at the children in surprise. So this has taken them back to about 130 odd years ago, about 130 years ago. That is a long, long time ago. So things didn't look the same then. They looked similar. The street looked similar, but not exactly the same as it would nowadays. "Excuse me," said Biff, "do you know where we are?" "Don't you know?" said the boy. "This is London." He took his cap off. It wasn't a boy, it was a girl. "I'm called Vicky," said the girl. "I'm called Vicky after the Queen." "What Queen?" asked Biff. "Queen Victoria," said Vicky. "Don't you know anything?" "I'm hungry," said Vicky. "Have you got any money?" "No, sorry," said the children. "Come on then," said Vicky. "I know where we can get some. Follow me." Can you see it says workhouse there? That's where all the poor people went when they had nowhere to live and nothing to eat in the olden days, in the Victorian times. They followed Vicky down winding streets. At last they came to a blacksmith's. The blacksmith was looking at a horse's hoof. The horse needed a new shoe. "Got any jobs, mister?" asked Vicky. "I'll give you a penny to pump the bellows," said the blacksmith. The bellows are these things here, and when you pull that handle up and down, it sucks air in and pushes it out to make the fire hotter so that he can work the shoe more easily with the hammer. The children pumped and pumped until the fire glowed hot. It was hard work. The children were hot and thirsty. Vicky took them to a pump and everyone had a drink. Then Vicky pumped the water and the children washed their faces. So in Victorian times, they didn't have taps in the houses. They just had one big tap in the street that you had to go to for all your water. The children were hungry. Vicky took them to a baker's shop. She bought some bread with the penny. She gave some to Biff, Chip and Kipper. The bread was hot and it smelled good. Next, Vicky took them to a street with a high wall. A boy called Jack was waiting there. He looked at Biff, Chip and Kipper. Who are they? He asked. They're my new friends, she said. They all climbed on the wall. They had to help Kipper up. They could see a big house. It's Buckingham Palace, said Biff. We saw it when we went to London with Gran. So Buckingham Palace has been there a very long time. Suddenly, a light flashed at a window. It flashed on and off. It was flashing at Jack and Vicky. Jack had a lamp. He shone it back. Good, he said. Come on, follow me. The children jumped off the wall and ran to the palace. Keep down, called Jack, and run fast. Someone opened a window and they all ran towards it. There were 3 children inside. They were the grandchildren of Queen Victoria. She was the queen at the time. We've got Queen Elizabeth now, but they had Queen Victoria then. They're staying with the Queen, but it isn't much fun for them, said Vicky. We come to play with them every night. The Queen's grandchildren looked at Biff, Chip and Kipper. They're my new friends, said Vicky. They've come to play tonight. Great, now we can have some real fun, said one of the grandchildren. The children played together. First, they played hide and seek. Then they played tag. After that, they played hopscotch. Biff and Chip taught them how to play basketball. This is a good game, said one of the grandchildren. How did you learn to play it? We saw it on television, said Chip. On what? Said Jack. Oh, never mind, said Chip. So Jack doesn't know what a television is because in the Victorian times, televisions hadn't been invented yet. It's fun playing in a palace, said Kipper. But will we see Queen Victoria? I hope not, said Vicky. We shouldn't be here. If the grown-ups find out, there'll be trouble. At that moment, a grown-up came in and saw them. Oh no, said everyone, trouble. The grown-ups were very cross. They were cross with all the children. I told you there would be trouble, said Vicky. The royal grandchildren were sent to bed. A policeman came to take the others away. This is a serious matter, said the policeman. You're not allowed to play with the Queen's grandchildren. Come along with me. Oh dear, everyone's in trouble now. The children were taken to a police station. They were locked up. You can't go home until we find your mothers and fathers, said a policeman. Oh no, said Biff, we'll be here forever. I don't like this adventure, said Kipper. It isn't much fun. He wanted the magic key to glow, but it wouldn't. The next day, an important man came to see the children. The Queen has sent for you, he said. Come with me. The policeman let them out. The important man took them to Buckingham Palace. Do you think we're going to have our heads chopped off? Said Kipper. Gran was having tea with Queen Victoria. Gran, said Chip, what are you doing in our adventure? I'm having an adventure of my own, said Gran. Queen Victoria looked at all the children and smiled. Your grandmother has told me that you are good children, she said. You can play with my grandchildren and stay to tea. The children played in the throne room. They had a sack race. Come on, Biff, called Gran. Come on, Vicky, called the Queen. This is fun, everyone said. You can have one more race, said the Queen, and then it will be time for tea. I hope you like scones and homemade strawberry jam. The magic key began to glow. It was time for the adventure to end. Goodbye, said Kipper. Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure, said Queen Victoria. Do come again. And that's the end. Bye-bye.